Welcome to the National University Career Services Rock Your Resume, Crush Your Cover Letter workshop. Today we're going to discuss what a resume and cover letter is and is not, main formatting tips, key resume components, content nuts and bolts, and basic cover letter principles. A resume is an important job search tool. It's a 1 to 2 page summary of your qualifications as they relate to the role that you're applying for. The recruiter typically uses it as a screening device, and if done right, it convinces the employer how you're going to be successful in the position. In essence, your marketing brochure is your resume. A resume is not an essay or a biography of your entire life history. It's definitely not the silver bullet that gets the job. It's just a tool in your toolbox that might help you get invited to an interview. A cover letter is a 1-page introduction with 3 to 4 paragraphs. It conveys your personality. It is not a novel, and it doesn't regurgitate your resume. Some of the main resume formatting points are to not use a template. I repeat, do not use a template. They don't make good use of space, they're difficult to maneuver and change, and they don't know what's important for you to convey based on your background and your goals. So they often force you to include information that's not relevant, or they leave out important information that you do need on your resume. Also, please no columns, no complex tables or photos because they don't parse well into online applications, and recruiters really prefer to read from left to right like a page in a book. Start from scratch with a Word document and don't use Canva or Google Docs. They can't be parsed very well, even if they are converted to a PDF. Follow the document type instructions in the job description for submission, whether that be a PDF or a Word document. Formatting and spacing consistency throughout the entire document is key here. Have you ever wondered why you have to re-enter everything into an online application when you've already uploaded your resume? Well, you see, when you apply for a job online and you upload your resume, the system is going to use algorithms to parse your resume into the company's online application. The headings on the left are those headings that most algorithms are programmed to read. This allows the system to parse the information into the correct places into the online application. The headings on the right may or may not be parsed correctly. You can certainly use these headings, but you'll most likely need to manually enter the information into the correct places in the online application, taking you a little bit more time. We'll go ahead and discuss each of the components in more detail next. Okay, so what goes on the heading? Your name, your phone number, your email, basically your contact information, plus your LinkedIn URL and your location, which is comprised of your city, state, and oftentimes zip, as well as the position name. And that's important because the employer may have several vacancies available and they need to know which position it is that you're applying for. You don't want to leave them guessing. Just make sure that you're going to use a professional and current email address. Try using just your name with some numbers behind it without identifying your birth date. Also use a more current email address platform like Gmail because older ones like Hotmail and Yahoo and NetZero are notorious for sending external emails to spam. You don't want to miss out on any interview invitations. It's also highly important to be on LinkedIn because over 90% of recruiters are on LinkedIn and nearly half may not invite you to an interview if you don't have a professional online presence. Like it or not, employers are going to Google you. Plus, LinkedIn is a great networking tool. It really helps to know someone in the company that you're interested in. Networking is the key to doing so. Check out our networking and our LinkedIn workshops on Handshake for more information. So basically include your LinkedIn URL if you have one and pretty much mirror your resume to your LinkedIn profile so there are no discrepancies. Is a summary, also known as the profile. This is the top 1/4 to 1/3 of your resume, and it's the most important part of the resume. It helps to grab the recruiter's attention since recruiters are only going to scan your resume very briefly to determine if you meet the qualifications for the role. The summary contains 2 parts, the power statement and the skills or competencies. The power statement has replaced the objective in current resumes today. It's better than a professional objective because it uses employer-centric language. This section is specifically designed to allow for a brief snapshot of what you have to offer or your value. It demonstrates that you've taken the time to thoughtfully develop a resume linking your experience to the position. One way to show how you qualify for the role is to get out a highlighter and highlight the abilities, knowledge, and experience listed in the qualifications section of the job description based on your experience. Then use this information in your own words for the power statement. Another way is to review the program learning outcomes from your program of study and highlight the things that you've learned or the activities that you've done so far. This is great for more general resumes for people with little to no experience in a new career field. Then summarize the top 4 bullets in your own words as they relate to the qualification section in the job description. Now make sure that you keep it brief. If a power statement evolves into a big laundry list of everything you have to offer, it won't be as effective as one that's clear and concise as it relates to the job description or that profession. Strive for no more than 4 lines. The skills section is comprised of your key strengths as they relate to the position that you're applying for. It allows recruiters to quickly acquaint themselves with your leading skills as they relate to the role. One way to do this is to pull the skills from your experience section and match them with the skills listed in the qualifications section of the job description. Just make sure to use a consistent structure. Each item should complete the thought, I am good at or I excel at. The emphasis here is on hard skills. This is your chance to really sell yourself. Don't waste space with soft skills like dedicated or fast learner. This is also where you can include any other language skills that you have. Keep it brief and focused. Okay, so here is a sample job description, the qualification portion of that job description. The candidate here has highlighted what information they have from their background that they will want to incorporate into their resume. Just know that you really need to meet the qualifications in any job posting. As far as preferred qualifications are concerned, you don't necessarily have to have those, but if you do, make sure you include those on your resume. Those are not deal breakers, but where it talks about requirements or must-haves, you have to have those in order to apply. So make sure that you're applying for jobs that you're qualified for. So this is an example of how to incorporate the knowledge, ability, and experiences from the qualification section of the job description into your power statement, and the skills from the qualification section into the skills portion of the summary. If you're in a technology-heavy field or certain computer skills are highly important for the role that you're applying for, and they're mentioned in the qualifications section, you'll want to place your technologies section next. Recruiters prefer to see this quickly towards the top, say, half of your resume. Otherwise, if it's not that important to your role, you can either place it at the end of the resume or leave it off entirely. Your education, certifications, certificates, credentials, license, and any registrations that you may have go next on the resume, unless you already have experience in the field. Relevancy is key here. Don't confuse a recruiter about your career trajectory with education that isn't related and doesn't make sense to them. Your resume needs to be very intentional as it relates to your goals. Now, if you have at least 1.5 years of experience in the field that you're applying for, you may want to consider placing your education directly after the experience section, which we'll get to next. For degrees, you're going to want to include a list of degrees that you've attained, the schools that you've attended, including the locations, the city and state, of course, and completed or expected completion dates. Use the location that you attended, not necessarily the main campus. And if it was online, just say online. Degrees should be presented in reverse chronological order, basically most recent first. Make sure to use the official title listed in the catalog or on your degree as the example shows on the screen. Referring to academic degrees as bachelor's or master's or BA or MA is acceptable in conversation, as in, I got my bachelor's at XYZ school, but it's not correct on a formal document such as a resume. Under your education for which it was obtained, you can list your GPA, only if it's higher than 3.5, and any honors distinction, especially if you're an engineering or accounting major or nursing major, where those things hold a lot of value. Scholarships or other academic awards and relevant schools, school clubs, organizations, or other extracurricular activities can also go underneath your education. Now, don't list your high school unless, of course, you've graduated within the last 3 years. Now for certifications. Certifications are placed under the education or in a separate certification section. Always include any license, certification, or registration numbers and use valid through dates rather than received dates if they expire and they last a specified amount of time. Now, while we've seen some resumes with professional development in the education section, like any relevant training, seminars, courses, or workshops that didn't lead to formal degrees or licenses or registrations, certifications, certificates, and the like, those would actually go in a separate professional development section later in the resume. Depending on what other sections are included in your resume, its relevancy to the role that you're applying for, and the amount of space left on the resume. Remember, of course, most resumes should be no more than 2 pages in length. So this is an example of the education and certifications separated out. Typically, I would separate them out if you have at least 2 educations and 2 certifications. If you have a total of only 3, then you might want to put them together. Space will also dictate. Now for the experience section of your resume. The experience can be comprised of any school projects that you've done, any practicums or internships, your work history, and any volunteerism if it's directly related and is needed to fill in an experience gap. Relevancy is key here. How does your experience translate to what you're trying to do now? Try not to make the recruiter weed through a lot of unrelated information or confuse them in big blocks of text when trying to find out how you're qualified for your role. Start your bullets with action words or verbs at the beginning of the bullets instead of using I statements. Also, you don't want to use responsible for or duties include. Make sure you use past and present tense appropriately as well. Okay, so here's how you would insert your experience. Of course, it would be in reverse chronological order as discussed previously. The work history showcases your accomplishments as it relates to the role, which is vital. Again, project work, volunteer work, internships, and other unpaid experience can and should be included in the work history provided that they were structured and ongoing and related to your goals. Unpaid work can help to close the gaps in experience or enhance the resumes of entry-level job seekers or career changers. So, first of all, you're going to input your company name, the location, the job title, and the dates. This should follow a consistent format and will always be presented right before the job description. The location should generally list the city and state where you worked. While years are certainly okay on resumes, recruiters prefer the month and year so that they can determine accurately if you have the amount of experience that they're seeking. And they also look for dates on the far right. It makes it much easier for them to find. Bulleted lists typically come next. Bullets should include these three components I'm discussing with you now. What did you do? How did you do it? What were the tools, the techniques, or the methods used? And why? What was the purpose of what it was that you did? Or better yet, what was the result? If you really want to score some points, recruiters love numbers, so try to incorporate them into your results. This is really what sets you apart from the competition. You're conveying that you're an achiever rather than just a doer. You're not listing just a bunch of tasks. It shows how you'll be successful in the role that you're applying for. But also try not to be too repetitive so that the same text is not repeated word for word in the resume. This can really annoy the recruiter. Follow the same process of the summary section to customize the experience section. The only difference is that you'll want to match the responsibilities or what you'll be doing or duties include section from the job description to your experience as it applies to your background. Notice again how the dates are right aligned and in the month and year format. Any volunteerism or community involvement goes after the experience section if it's not directly related, but you want to showcase your willingness to go above and beyond and contribute to your community, and you have space to do it, or you need to fill up some space. Today, many employers give time off to give back to their employees, communities, and they do place oftentimes a high importance on giving back. But you want to make sure that you're only using any volunteerism or community involvement if it was recent, within the past 3 years, and was done regularly, not just occasionally. Otherwise, the employer is going to wonder, why did you stop? So now we've put all the pieces together in this resume. See how the bolding was used here. For the most important information, your degrees and titles are more important than where you achieved them. Notice that the accomplishments are listed within the bullets and some numbers were used here. Again, recruiters love numbers or quantifications. So switching gears to cover letters. Paragraph 1, or the first paragraph, is the opening or your introduction. What you're going to want to do here is give your reason for writing the letter and cite the position that you're interested in and where you found out about the job opening, whether that be the employer's website, an internet search engine, LinkedIn, EdJoins, a referral, or what have you. Tell the employer why you're a good fit for the company and that you've attached your resume for review in this paragraph. In paragraphs 2 to 3, which is considered the body, this is where you place your hook. This is 1 or 2 paragraphs that convinces the employer why you're qualified for the posted position. Identify specific qualifications from the job posting to address. Usually the most important ones are the first 3 qualifications or requirements. Match what you have accomplished to the 3 key qualifications or requirements listed in the job posting. And for an added bonus, research the company. For example, take a look at their mission statement, their vision statement, their values. What products or services do they offer? Are they going through any initiatives right now? Or is there anything newsworthy about them? And basically tell them why you like them and why you align with them. So the last paragraph is considered to be the closing paragraph. This is where you're going to restate your interest and let the employer know that you're interested in interviewing for the position. Give your email address and your phone number where they can contact you to set up an interview. Even if it's still in your heading, you still want to put it here for a quick reference. Then, of course, you want to make sure that you are thanking the employer for considering you for this position. This is an example of a cover letter. The heading matches the resume heading, and it's addressed to a person, not to whom it may concern. So always try to find the name of a person with which to address the cover letter. If you can't find a person, that's okay. You tried. Use Dear Hiring Manager or Dear Selection Committee, something to that effect. That opening paragraph talks about your reason for writing, the position name, where you learned of the position, and that your resume is attached. The body paragraph includes your strongest qualifications and accomplishments matching the job requirements, and the closing paragraph includes your interests, contact information, and thanks them. Again, you're going to score more points if you can talk a little bit about what you know about the company and why you like them based on that research. The most critical piece of advice I can give you: proofread. Make sure that your spelling, your punctuation, and your grammar are perfect. Get a second set of eyes on it if you need to. Nothing turns off an employer more than errors on a resume or a cover letter. If you'd like for us to review your resume at no charge, here's how you can schedule an appointment and our contact information. You can also send your resume to resumedropbox@nu.edu to receive written suggestions and feedback for your resume. Just know that we can't help you if you haven't created a Handshake account. Please email careerservices@nu.edu or call 858-541-7950 for assistance with registering if you need it. Thank you so much.